we'll be talking another attribute of population, that is population density. Population density is also known as population size. It is also denoted by letter capital N. Now, population density is another important attribute besides the sex ratio, that is the natality, mortality. Besides that, it is an important criteria or important attribute. The reason being because it helps us in understanding the status of the habitat. That means how well the habitat is able to support the group of organism, the type and the level of competition that the group of or the population faces. So if the population is successful, that means it is capable of withstanding the competition, and also the habitat is favorable. It also considers the effect of the predators and the use of various chemicals. So what is meant by actually the population density? Now, when we talk of population density, we calculate it by counting the number of members of a particular species. So here density means the number we are, suppose in a particular geographical area or particular habitat, the number of individuals of a particular species will constitute the population density of that particular species. But certain times it has to be percentage cover or biomass. So not necessarily always the number. Now, for example, in a particular area, let's say there are about 200 Parthenium plants. Parthenium is a weed. Parthenium plants. And over here, we have only one banyan tree. So we have only one banyan tree with large canopy. Now, since it has large canopy, seeing to the size of the population of the Parthenium plant, the role of the banyan tree almost looks insignificant. That means we do not consider it to be more important. But since it has large canopy, it will support the growth of many other kind of plants. So here biomass, instead of counting the numbers, you can see from here that Parthenium plant counts the population density is quite high, but as compared to the banyan tree. But over here biomass will be suitable to measure the population size. Also, in certain cases when we talk, the counting is not easy. If the population is huge, so the counting will not, if the population becomes too large, then the counting will not be possible or nearly impossible. So in this case, we do not consider the population density as absolute population density, but then relative density. That means one population to the other population are considered. And for example, let's talk of a culture of bacteria in a petri dish. So in a petri dish, certain type of bacteria is there. The culture of bacteria is there in the petri dish. Now, it is impossible to find out the population size. So here what do? We have to consider the relative density because we need to find out the total population size. Also, sometimes we use indirect methods. Like for example, in the case of tigers and all, it again becomes difficult because tigers or many animals move in search of food from one place to the other. So it becomes relatively difficult to find out the exact population size or the population density. So here we use the pug marks or the fecal pallets for counting the tigers. So the population density or the population size can be counted by various methods depending upon the type of organisms we want to find, the type of organism whose population density we need to find, or some other habitat if we want to specifically see, then we need to find out using various methods. So population density is again an important attribute for formulating further plans or utilizing or finding out the effect of various kinds of chemicals which can be used for a particular population effectively.